Hello, Nyman with Razor Glass. In this video, I'm going to be tasting and discussing with you dessert wines. A dessert wine is a sweet wine with highly concentrated flavors, usually served after dinner with dessert. In the United States, the legal definition of a dessert wine is any wine whose alcohol by volume rating lies between 14 and 24%. I'm going to be discussing with you 4 types of dessert wine: late harvest wine, ice wine, noble rot wine, and Apassimento wine. I will not be discussing fortified wines such as port and Madeira in this video. Late harvest wine. The grapes for late harvest wine are picked after the normal harvest season, which ends in October in the Northern Hemisphere. These grapes are hand-picked starting in November and sometimes as late as December. Due to the fact that grapes are on the vine much longer, the sugar levels have risen and the flavor is starting to concentrate. In addition, due to that long period of time on the vine, due to natural causes such as weather, bees, and animals, the actual number of grapes harvested per acre is also dramatically less. Examples of these types of wine for a white wine would be a Riesling, and for a red wine, Zinfandel. Ice wines. The grapes for ice wines are picked once the grapes are actually frozen on the vine. This starts to occur in January, but can be as late as February. Again, due to that how long they've been on the vine, the sugar levels have really risen and those flavors are really concentrated. Again, the actual number of grapes that can be picked for this type of wine have dramatically decreased. Examples of these types of wines for a white wine, Vidal and Riesling, and for a red wine, Cabernet Franc. Noble rot wines. These wines are made in a very interesting manner. A naturally occurring fungus, Botrytis cinerea, actually shrivels up the grapes by extracting the liquid from the grapes, thus increasing the sugar levels and intensifying those flavors. The fungus also imparts flavors of honey and apricot. In order for the Botrytis fungus to grow and do its job, the weather conditions have to be just right. The right weather conditions are a wet, moist morning, but a very dry day. If the day continues to stay damp, another fungus occurs called gray rot, and the grapes are not fit to be made into wine. Because the weather conditions are so unique and so distinct for this fungus to grow, this type of wine is only produced in small pockets around the world. Some of the most famous versions of these wines are the Tokaji Aszu wines of Hungary, the Sauternes wines of Bordeaux, France, and the Seewinkel wines of Austria. Apassimento wines. Again, these wines are made in a very interesting method. The grapes are harvested and then air dried either on mats or hung to dry. As the liquid from the grapes evaporates, the grapes shrivel up and become raisins, and some people actually call these raisin wines. This method of making wine has been going on for centuries in Italy and Greece. One of the more recognizable Apassimento wines is Recioto from Italy. Let's talk a little bit about the characteristics of dessert wines. First off, color, aromas, and flavors all depend on the varietal or varietals from which the wine is made. Body is usually medium to full, alcohol 14 to 20%, acidity medium to high, sweetness very, very sweet, tannins low to medium. You want to serve dessert wines chilled 45 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit in a small dessert wine glass. These are sipping wines. You want to serve them in small portions due to the high residual sugar and the intensity of the flavors. You can decant these wines, but you do not have to, but if you do, make sure you keep them chilled. As far as aging goes, because of the high sugar and the high alcohol, these wines can age for a very long time. As an example, you can age a Sauternes wine for several decades. Another point about these wines, they're sold in half bottles. It takes 2 half bottles to make a normal 750 milliliter bottle of wine. These wines tend to be fairly expensive or relatively expensive. A half bottle of dessert wine will cost you as much, and most of the time more, than a regular 750 milliliter bottle of wine. These wines range in cost from double-digit price points all the way to triple-digit price points. And a really aged Sauternes wine can bring in 4- and 5-digit price points. I'm going to break down food pairings for the types of dessert wines I've discussed so far. For late harvest wines, tart fruit, lemon pound cake, and lemon cream pie. For ice wines, a white ice wine, cheesecake. For red ice wine, chocolate desserts. For noble rot wines, dried and fresh fruit, creme brulee, and cheesecake. And for Apassimento wines, crumb cake, almond cookies, and fruit tarts. Let's taste our wine. I'm going to be tasting a La Fleur Renaissance Sauternes 2016. This wine is produced in the eastern portion of the Bordeaux region of France. And I've chilled it to 48 degrees Fahrenheit as recommended by the vintner. Let's check out clarity, brilliance, and legs. Nice and clear, nice and brilliant, and some nice legs as well. Let's swirl our wine and take a sniff. Tropical fruits, pineapple for sure. Let's try a second sniff. Picking up some mango and as well a hint of almond. Let's try a taste. A lot of honey and definitely some apricot. Body is full. Alcohol for this particular wine is 13.5%. Acidity is high. Sweetness is very sweet. Sauternes wines range in residual sugar from 12.5% to 15%, so they're going to be very sweet. Tannins are low. Overall balance pretty nice, but there's a lot of that honey flavor here. Food pairings I think would be creme brulee and cheesecake. I really hope you found our discussion of dessert wines informative, and I hope you get the opportunity to taste some of these great wines. They have incredible flavors, and those flavors are highly concentrated. In my next video, I'm going to be discussing fortified wines. I hope to see you then, and as always, raise a glass and have a drink.